Hello everyone. We are drawing Godrick the Grafted today, who is a boss in the new FromSoft game called Elden Ring. And first we're just doing a little bit of pencil underdrawing to give ourselves an idea of what to ink in, because this will be done in ink. Just the basic shapes, nothing fancy, nothing to get too carried away. But Godrick is a demigod who is evil. He's part of the evil adversaries of who you play in Elden Ring, which is a game that just came out. I haven't played the game yet. I've seen gameplay, but I just thought the characters are really cool looking, so I decided this would be a good thing to draw and try out artistically. So Godrick the Grafted has many arms and legs attached to him because he grafts people's arms and legs onto himself. It's kind of a sick thing to do, but that's what he does. So as you can see here, I'm just drawing the basic outlines of hands and arms sticking out of his arms. And then he's covered in these cloaks and all kinds of things. Put another arm here. And then he is holding on to this great big axe, which kind of comes out like this in sort of a way. And then again, this is just basic shapes. This is kind of coming at us here, so we'll have to do some things to make that perspective be convincing. My kids are yelling upstairs, which is great. Okay, so a lot of things hanging off of him. You've got some cloaks and various articles of clothing, some armor on one of his legs, and then you have he's just a menacing figure, and then the cloaks kind of come to the ground here, and then he's just swinging that axe at you if you're playing the game, and he's got this sort of crown and then hair that goes out like that. So that is Godrick. Now let's start inking in a second here. Basic shapes. Okay, that should be enough to go on, I think. My problem is I never know really where to end the underdrawing, because you want to add enough detail where you know what to ink in without having to sort of guess. I mean, you can fill in some of the areas fairly well with just ink, but it always helps to have a more detailed underdrawing. There's another little, whatever this is, tassel or something here. Okay. All right. Ink. This is a Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. This is the hard tip one. I love this pen. It's my favorite pen. Hold on, is that clear or not? Looks kind of unclear. Let me move this in a little bit. Okay, that seemed to clear it up a little bit. I hope that was clear enough in the beginning. Anyway, I always start with the face. Kind of angry eyes. These eyebrows are menacing. I don't know if I'll be able to capture that, but here's the line of his crown or whatever this is. And he's kind of covered in golden articles of clothing. He's a very angry demigod. And let's see here. So add some detail on the nose. kind of outline the structure of the face here. Again, he starts having these hairs kind of coming out in every direction. And this pen's kind of going dry, as you can see, a little bit. But I don't actually mind it because it kind of gives a nice line weight. So here's the hair on this side. I don't want to make him look too youthful, but let's see if we can avoid that by putting in lines and crevices in the face and sort of darkening these areas. He's a cruel, cruel man. Not a man, more of a cruel demigod. So here he is, his cruel face. He's got lines kind of coming down. This part of the face will kind of be in shadow because we have light coming from this direction. So, okay, now we have sort of this wrinkled clothing coming off of him in his arms. And we'll fill that in. It's a basic piece of clothing, but then he's kind of draped in this cloth that goes all the way down his arm. And so we'll kind of have that like that. And then let's draw this arm. So it's got kind of a base here. And then the arm comes up and it's armored. So it's got this elbow linkage here in the armor, and we'll do some shadowing, kind of give it some shine, and then go out to the actual hand itself. Let's do the thumb. And the hand is kind of reaching into the distance. Okay, looks fairly decent. We'll add some details here that depict the light and shadow and the basic areas, the aspects of that arm. I like that arm. Okay, we'll keep it moving here. Down to this sort of hand, which is, this here will be like a piece of armor. Down to this hand who has like a big piece of armor on it. Now there's like I don't know what it is, like maybe a baby's arm, a couple of baby's arms, which is grotesque to say the least. Attached here. And it kind of comes out as a claw. And these disjointed fingers here. Boy, that's weird. The more I think about that, that is weird. Okay, and then a little bit bigger of an arm for the pincher, the other side. We won't add too much detail on this hand here. We shouldn't need to. Just some shadowing, shading. And there's obviously scuffs because this armor has been in a lot of fights. And let's add some rivets here on the end, down below. And okay, we'll shade in this area here in the bottom of this hand because it's away from the light. And then we'll put in some hatching. Okay, I like that. Now let's make this area right here, the linkage between it, let's make it almost completely black. And then this is fabric. So it's got this liner here. And then it's got sort of a pattern and wrinkles. Okay, so that's going to be darker down here because it's away from the light, obviously. And then now, coming up from behind the arm right here, we have this sort of, it's like I don't know what it is, like a scarf almost. And this will be connected down here to this. There's another piece of fabric right here, but this scarf will have this liner here. And we'll just kind of show that it's flowing sort of in the wind. It's got these like diamond shaped patterns in it. Okay. We'll kind of shade in to a certain extent the outside of this to add detail. It kind of looks like how his is. But see, with his costume, you have the added benefit of color, which we don't have. We're doing just black and white ink. So we have to add detail by just adding detail, by adding a lot of lines and using the relationship between lights and darks to our advantage. So, oh, and then there's these sort of like hairs coming off of this. Hairs or tassels coming off of this scarf. Okay. Okay, that's good. Now, he has this thing coming down from his neck, which is like it's not really it's just a piece of loose fabric, it looks like, and then several folds underneath. So we're gonna wanna show the shadow here and the details of his neckline, things like that. Okay. And then this fabric comes down and there's another piece of fabric below. So it's a lot of different layers. I'll do this right here. Okay. And then we will add in these folds and layers here. And we'll darken that area. Oh, this pen is like almost perfect. It's almost completely dead, completely dry almost. So we're gonna add some shadow to his face here. And then we're gonna go on the other side and do this other scarf. So here's the other side of the scarf, and it's kind of billowing too as he's in action. When you fight him, he's got all these different move sets. This new game is crazy because from what I've seen, there's a lot of different move sets that they didn't even have in the other FromSoftware games, like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and Bloodborne. And it's been a big success, it looks like. So a lot of people that play these games are just loving it. You don't always get that with a lot of the games that are coming out now. They just try to regurgitate the same material, or they try to do too much different, or they detract from what everybody liked about the first game in the first place. But FromSoftware will not release a game until it's perfect, which is pretty admirable, but it does take about 5 years between them. So we're just going to add some detail here, some shading details. Okay. And then there is yet again more fabric. We've got these sort of like rings, things like that. And we're just going to shade it in a little bit, and right here where it comes out of the shadow. Okay, and then right here you have this armor piece kind of covering the leg. Okay, and then you've got these areas that are, it's like chainmail with these rivulets in it. So we'll make these rivulets here, and then all right. And then we want to sort of add a little bit of shading. Again, if this was a brand new pen, you couldn't probably do this kind of hatching to shade in that area, but be that as it may, it's not. So here's more fabric coming down, it's flowing, and it's got sort of this flowy material here, and then this will just be all in shadow, I think. Okay, and then he's got this sort of ripped fabric here, kind of girding the whole thing, and it's a couple layers of it, and it's got some weird little designs on it, but we're not going to get too carried away with the details there, just kind of making these sort of floral designs, and then filling it in and showing folds by doing lights and darks in various areas. So, okay. Now, another area where there's his leg. Actually, let's finish this arm here, this little arm going off the other way. We'll show that it's going kind of behind, because it is. All right. Actually, we'll kind of shadow this one in because it's in the background. Okay. Now this here is almost his left leg, if this is his left leg, as we're looking at it. And it's kind of grotesquely bent, and the fabric's kind of piling up on the ground here. I actually wasn't able to see any shots of his legs, so we're just doing what we think it would be, because I didn't actually remember from any of the gameplay, and then any of the images I saw didn't have his legs in it. And so I imagine it's just something like that, ruddy material. Let's add some. There we go. Okay, and then this is more just material kind of piled up on the ground. Again, I don't even know what his legs look like because I wasn't able to see them, but let's make it look cool nonetheless. Like something we think they would have designed at FromSoftware. Okay, and then, so you can't even really see his feet. It's by design, I guess. And then here's the ground. So we'll just fill that in on the ground there, so we can see where he's standing. Okay, now let's get on to this part here. We've got another arm. We can do something different with this arm. Instead of armor, I suppose we could make it like material. Some weird material. And just put some folds in there, and then just kind of fill in the lights and darks and add details where we think we can use them. And there we go. And this one will be a fist. Let's make this fist holding a sword, I think. Why not? Because he does have swords in his hands. Okay, that looks cool, I think. And then there's another arm coming out in the background here. This will be mostly just shadow. We'll have a grotesque looking thumb coming out there. And there's the shadow. Okay, cool. Now going down, more fabric kind of draping down. Everything's kind of loosely on because it's sort of covering his body until you fight him, and then there's this point where he takes it off and reveals all these arms that are grafted on. So we're just adding details here, little squiggly lines to show that that is the edge of the fabric there. And this can all be in shadow here. We can block shade this in. And then this will have a big like section of it, looks like this. And then we come down to the other arm. This is the important part. So this is an armored section here. And we can show by putting some rivets. I don't know how well that shows that, but anyway, get the idea. And okay, now here's the part that connects to the hand, which is like a bracelet of sorts. And his big hand comes down, and then you've got the thumb, and the thumb's kind of curling down and around this axe, which comes out like this, but it's coming at us, so we have to make it smaller and then bigger, right? Let's put his fingers here. Okay. Oh, it looks like he's grabbing a small handle here. Let's make that handle a little bit wider at the bottom. Oh, we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. I don't love that, but for the sake of the drawing, I guess that'll work. And then we've got this section here where it sort of comes out, and then there's the ornate design of the axe. Again, this is just a really quick job here. And then the axe comes down, and it's got this sort of these grooves in it. And then it goes to right here, and then you've got this big section of it that's like a box. Then it comes out, and then, oh, there we go. Okay, now we have to show that it's head on here, so there's the thickness when it gets close to the shaft here. And then some rivets right here. And then the head of the axe is kind of in shadow, and then we're going to shade in behind here, and then show that the axe itself has taken some damage and is maybe kind of blood-stained. All right. Okay, that looks pretty decent. So yeah, this is Godrick The Grafted. I'm sure there's more detail that I could have put in there, but in the end, this is pretty much him. And these will be in shadow, kind of. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.